Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. It's the best night of the week. We hope you're hungry for Pizza Night with Niki and Mike here on Mercado Airwaves. Now, here are your hosts for Pizza Night, Nicole Mancha and Mike Mercado.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Pizza Night with Niki and Mike on Mercado Airwaves. My name is Nicole and I'm here with Mike. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Today we're going to talk about love languages and what that means for both yourself and your partner and how you can kind of understand each other in it.
Nicole, what made you get into what brought up this idea? This is a interesting thing that I've heard a lot of recently. Love languages, obviously, in social media, they have all those tests that we're going to actually do later on today. You're going to see me take one of those 10 questionnaire love languages tests. But how did you first come across the 5 love languages of relationships?
Sure. I came across it years ago. Steve Harvey actually had the people who wrote the book on his show.
Yeah, I found that interesting as I was doing some research for that.
Yeah.
It's based off a book.
He's the one who found
Gary Chapman.
Yeah. So he actually had them on his show, and that's the first time I had heard about it. But I do listen to a lot of like relationship podcasts or podcasts that just like have people who happen to be in relationships. So it comes up a lot more often than you would think. And I thought it would be kind of cool because this is something I don't think you would do for like an everyday thing. So I was like, let's do it. Let's see how it goes. And then I think it's a good insight to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a really fun episode. We're going to do one of those tests later on. And before we do that, kind of just to let you guys in, this was this kind of whole thing as I was doing research, it really manifested itself in a book called The 5 Love Languages, How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate. Written by Gary Chapman in 1995. The 5 love languages are receiving gifts, quality time, words of admiration, acts of service, devotion, and physical touch. So very interesting outlines. And my theory on it, before we get into it, it's let's kind of break down what do we think about the love languages. Like, I think for Gary Chapman, it was a perfect way to just monetize a very basic idea.
I mean, I think maybe that's in a way, I think that's everyone's kind of thing, right? Those people who come up with these ideas that everybody talks about, but nobody actually does. Like these financial gurus. They're not telling us anything new. Budgeting, like knowing how much you make, knowing what's going in and out. It's very basic stuff, but I think it's the way you present it. And by presenting it in a way for specifically this as something to do with your partner, I think creates that kind of affirmation on your relationship.
Cool. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. The first one is receiving gifts. Then that's a really cool. There's an interesting one because right away when you think of receiving gifts, you think, oh, you're just being shallow. It's all about how much love can you bestow upon me, how much you love me, but how big the ring is and things like that. But there is some kind of intangible feeling you get when somebody goes out of their way, and it doesn't have to be the most expensive of gifts, but when they're thinking of you and they get you something, that's pretty cool. That's a really cool indication.
And that's usually what it is. So the receiving gifts is gifts that are given to you on maybe not specific days to just show that you are thinking of somebody as you're out or doing something, and people respond to that. It doesn't have to be large things. It's little things that are done throughout the year that make you feel special.
Yeah, and I think, again, it definitely goes out of the way in today's society where there's so many holidays that you have to give gifts for, or we're perceived to have to give gifts for. But, when you get something on a random August day and it's like a little plush toy or a T-shirt or flowers or candy, it's a nice little surprise. And then number 2, quality time. This one I think is very open to interpretation. What is considered quality time? Is it Netflix and chill? Is it Rocky Mountain climbing? Is it driving on a road trip? Like, I think that one is really open ended. Like,
so it's, if you read it and you've actually read the stuff on it, which I have because I'm a loser. Quality time means not time watching television. So it's time that you're actually spending with the other person, eye contact, actually having conversation with them. So you're interacting together. That's considered That's the quality time that they're talking about. They're not like, obviously, if you and I are watching a movie, that's quality time together, but that's not how it's perceived quality time. So quality time perceived is when, like right now, this is quality time, spending time speaking, talking. And again, the thing you have to remember with the love languages is that it's not what you're thinking. It's the other person. Right.
And I would consider that more communication being a key thing. But if you want, if that's what we're going to qualify as quality time, then the next one, that's what Gary Chapman decides. Words of affirmation. I think that one, again, kind of falls into quality time and communication. It's always good. Here's the thing. When you're doing your job, you don't get thanks because it doesn't seem like you're doing anything at all.
Right.
Where did I hear that from?
I don't know.
It's from a movie. Anyway,
I wish you could see his face.
Oh man! So the quote is, when you've done something right, it's almost as if you've done nothing at all.
Yeah.
Oh man, is it Angels in the Outfield? Anyway, this is gonna bother me the rest of the show. But yeah, like there is something really cool about coming home and what do you think about this? Like words of affirmation, like coming from from a woman's perspective.
Really good about it. You're really good about it in the sense of like I'm not so great about it. That I know. Like you're really good about like if I make you something or do something for you, you're always very quick to say thank you and I appreciate that and I love you and blah blah blah.
Well, it goes a long way because like again, when you do your job right, and this is anything like if you open up a door for somebody, like to me you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And when somebody says, you know how many times you open up a door and somebody doesn't say thank you.
Yeah.
Like that to me is, or when you're walking by and you say good morning to somebody, or you say how you doing when you see somebody in the hallway, and they don't give you back that reciprocation of like an appreciation. Like, we don't have to be dicks to everybody, but like I definitely think, especially with your significant other, it's very important to let them know not only whether you love them or that you're proud of them or that you understand they're going through a hard time. But I definitely think it's a very important. I think that one's probably the most important one of the 5 that they list.
So it's just the thing is about the love languages. It's how you register love. So I don't think there's one that's more important than the other. It's how the other person registers love. It's from Futurama.
Futurama. I was going to say, I didn't even have to look it up. It's Futurama when Bender sees the God prodigal thing. I knew it. I am a smart person. SMRT. I mean SMART. You can listen to all our pop culture stuff on The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves, just like us on YouTube and on Facebook, Mercado Airwaves, and Mike Mercado 2333. You were talking?
Yes. So I don't think there's one that's more important than the other. The point is how the other person registers that love and how they kind of digest into that. So I wouldn't say that's the most important. I think for you that's most important. Or one of the most
my job is to communicate. Like I'm a communicator. Right. Like that's what I do.
But it's also like I said, you're the one who will very quickly tell me like, thank you, I appreciate blah, blah, blah. When I come home, the first thing I don't say is, oh my God, thank you so much for cleaning up the house. And the worst part is like it's because I don't notice, and not in a bad way. Right. It's just that cleanliness does not register with me.
This is the one, seriously.
It's an honest thing.
But
it's just being real.
And it's all about, how I don't take it personal. Like it doesn't upset me. Like I'm not like, she don't like that I clean the house. I'm going to cheat on her. Yeah. I'm going to leave her. I'm going to be like I don't care.
Where are you gonna go?
Yeah. Well, first of all, where am I gonna go? I need the studio, and more importantly though, it's like I need my house to be clean too, because like I like a clean house.
Yeah.
Like it bothers me more than it is anything else. So it's like that's a personal thing, and again, it just goes into like there is an appreciation though, because I think one of the big things you're really great at. You know what? We'll save it. Remind me. Please remind me because I might forget. Why don't we go ahead and guess what each other's is before we go ahead and test what we actually think it is. So yeah, going on to the one that I probably find the hardest with the language, it just doesn't really translate well, is acts of service.
Yeah.
AKA acts of devotion. And again, when you say devotion, it definitely sounds more sexier, more loving, more tender. It's a devotion you have. But really, it is just more like, what are you willing to do for me? How far can I get you to go for me?
Kind of, but a lot of it...
To me, that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, when you read... Like I said, I've read up on a lot of this stuff because I think it's really interesting to know how people think. So a lot of acts of service means taking out the garbage when I don't have to ask you to. Doing the laundry if I don't ask you to. There are certain things you do every day, and then there's certain things you just don't do, and it's not because you don't want to. I am like in the one sense like most other women out there. Why do I have to tell you what to do? You should already know what to do, because if you're here and you see it, why are you walking right past it? And I'm not, obviously I am not perfect. I definitely do that all the time. But it's one of those things where, like, when I'm home, I do try and do things that I see all around the house. So laundry or garbage or whatever, like, I'll take it out because you're not here, you're at work. But vice versa, I think there are things that don't necessarily register to you. Like, that there's laundry, but it's tomorrow and you have all day. And then tomorrow comes and goes and then it's the next day. And you're like, oh, shit, the whole day is gone because I was doing this and that and this and that.
Right.
And it's, and I think that's a lot of women is like, why do I have to tell you to do it? It should just be done. So acts of service is if I come home and the laundry's done. I didn't have to ask you to do it. You just did it because you wanted to make it easier for me. And that's just an example. It's not like, it's not like me like subtly, hey, Mike, do the laundry. Like, It's one of those things, it's just an example of that's an act of service and an act of devotion is doing something to make your partner's life easier because you know that they'll get stuck doing it otherwise.
You're very interesting. Now, I think there's a better way of saying it than acts of service, acts of devotion.
Yeah,
like, I definitely think there's a better way of saying it.
It's
but
also written in 1995. So.
Sure, but like, I also think like maybe it's just called consideration. Like, have some consideration for somebody. Like, if they worked all day or if they've had a rough day or there's a lot of traffic, or they were stuck in traffic, or their car was having issues, or somebody wrote something mean on Facebook. Like, you don't have to pander to anybody. You don't have to pamper anybody, but you have to have some consideration for somebody. So, a perfect example is I know people who like to come home and they don't want any interaction with anybody for the first 5 minutes. And then there's some people who right away they like to be involved. They want to talk. They want to tell you your whole day.
100% me.
Well, I was more considering like, my parents or different people, but it's definitely an interesting way. You have to find a way to be considerate with the other person and also considerate of the other person's feelings too. It's like, they don't mean anything by it. They want to be involved with you. But, there is also the thing that life is in the movies. There's not a cutscene. Like, 8 hours doesn't just cut to the next scene. Like, it's a full 8-hour day. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. So, acts of devotion, acts of service, I consider just more consideration for your partner.
I also think this was written for women. And, like, I don't know if I would like to read acts of consideration. Like, because then it's like, oh, you're implying I'm not considerate. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because if your partner happens to be an acts of consideration type of love.
But there should be.
I think he just wrote it for. What I'm saying is, I think he wrote it with specific
fine. But just
people in mind.
That idea right there is like everybody in today's day and age, everybody's so defensive and so ready to go around and be like, well, why are you telling me this instead of that? It's not about that. It's that consideration of like, we have to move forward when it comes to these weird norms that we've had with relationships, like the consideration of women cook and men throw out the garbage. It's like, I cook as much as you do. You throw out the garbage just as much as I do. So it's like there is no, to me again, it's just consideration. It's like I understand you work late, so you don't want to cook. You want to come home to a meal. Cool, I got you. I don't want to come home. I don't want to have to take out garbage at 4:00 in the morning.
Right.
Take care of that for me. There is this consideration. There is no weird, archaic way of going at it. But sometimes I feel like, I can't say the word considerate because then it makes it seem like I'm devaluing what a woman brings to a relationship. It's like, that's not true because, like, the idea that it's not 50-50, the perception that television has done and that books have done and that, magazines have done where it's not 50-50, where, the woman does carry the relationship. And like, quite honestly, that's the one weird thing that I think a lot of people can't get their head out over and like, is not feeling attacked. I think everybody always feels like they're being attacked.
Right.
But when you look from the outside looking in, or you take this second to realize, you're like, man, good guys in relationships get a bad rap. The reason why good guys don't say it though, or talk about it, it's because they don't have to be defensive about it. But that's why the stigma stays there. Because the good guys don't talk about it. They're not sitting there explaining like, hey, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Because guess what? They already have, a boyfriend or a girlfriend that the guy has loved this whole time, right? Like, they've already been with them. So, like, it's just really weird. Like, I feel people have these weird stigmas that as forward as we're moving, we want to hold on to certain things. And I think we want our cake and we want to eat it too.
Yeah.
I think it's really weird. But the last one, physical touch. I think this one, again, is just more, it's more common sense. Like when you think about it, it's like when you're in a real relationship, when you've committed with one another, it's very important. And like, there's some people who wait till marriage to have, to have sex. And there's some people who right away, the first day they meet each other. And then there's, anybody in between there, but it is an important, like, even if it's hand holding, cuddling.
That's the thing. So the
physical
touch that they talk about is not sex.
Sure.
It's physical touch that will not lead to sex. Like, it's basically focusing on all the things in between that's besides sex. Because sex is obviously a very important thing in any relationship. You know what I mean? Like you said, some people wait till they're married, but when you're married, it's an important thing in your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's like... Yeah,
but physical touch, so putting your hand on their shoulder, your arms around their waist, things like that, that is what they're talking about with physical touch. It's touch that will not lead to anything more. Like, that's just it. Giving someone a hug just because you want them to feel loved, and then continuing on with your day.
Right.
Things like that. Is
more intimate. Like, as funny as it sounds, saying something more intimate than doing it, but like...
Exactly.
Like there is a difference of like, holding hands or, just those spontaneous moments of like cuddling or whatever the case may be. Like there is a sense of like intimacy that goes beyond just, that just goes beyond attraction. Right. That it is more that's your person. So yeah, very interesting stuff. I think they're kind of dated. But I think if you can interpret them to your day, to your time, whenever you're listening to this, it's applicable.
Yes.
You have, again, receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, devotion, and physical touch. So, Nicole, what do you think I am first? What do you think you are first?
Oh, I know what I am.
What are you?
So my top two are words of affirmation and physical touch.
Which one if you had gun to your head, which one's the one?
Probably physical touch.
Okay.
I know that I was really high on quality time as well.
I was going to say, if I had to rank it 1, 2, 3, I think quality of time would have been 1, physical touch would have been 2, and words of affirmation would have been 3.
Yeah.
I think those would have been, I think that would have been your 3. Now, what do you think mine are?
Receiving gifts. Because it's not about the large gifts, but the little things.
Okay.
You like to, like, when I bring the little things home for you.
Sure.
It makes you realize that I thought about you the entire day. And then I think acts of service. Things that you don't have to do. But, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I
You're gonna do the test.
think for me, it would be words of affirmation 1, receiving gifts 2, acts of service 3. I think that would have been it. I think it's really interesting, though, like... when I think, okay, so for example, like why I think I like receiving gifts, there is something about, like today, you brought me a Justice League shirt. I'm sure it didn't cost all that money, but the idea that instead of like you buying yourself Starbucks, you thought of me when you were at the store. It's like that's really cool, and it's something I'm going to wear. It's something I'm going to use. Like I wear and use all my gifts. I think there is something so cool about somebody thinking of you and getting you a gift.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like, I don't need a $700 watch. Give me a $2 Rugrats watch from Burger King from 1997, and I'm a happy dude. Words of affirmation, I'm an emotional dude. Like, I get hyped really fast. I get sad really fast. I get happy really fast. And there's something about, fourth wall being broken. It's very rare that I've ever been told I'm good at this job. Like, I very rarely am told that I'm talented. So it's kind of nice every once in a while when you hear that kind of stuff. Why don't we go ahead and take the test? We'll be right back here on Pizza Night with Niki and Mike on Mercado Airwaves.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves.
All right, let's go ahead and see what we have here. This is Languages of Love. Which one do you speak from Belief Net? Let's hope that my phone doesn't crash or I get a virus through this. Here we go. Personal preference number 1. I like to receive letters, thank you notes, and cards. I like spending one-on-one time with those I love. A thoughtful gift goes a long way with me. When others help me, it means a lot. Nothing says I love you more than a big, warm hug. So already you could kind of see, especially since we've done this episode and we've already kind of looked at some of these things and we know what they are, you could kind of see already where the test leads people. So the idea is, already what we talk is, what do I enjoy more? Do I enjoy listening to somebody give me encouragement or a thoughtful gift? It's interesting, too, because I'm looking at this and spending time one-on-one with those I love. I very much enjoy my family. I love my family. Like, I'm attached to the hip to them. I'm also very lazy, though. I don't necessarily like hanging out with people. I don't want to do those things. So that one kind of tears me up right there. But why don't we go, a thoughtful gift goes a long way. So on to the next one.
And it'll show you your rankings when you're done, too.
Personal preference number 2. Acknowledgement makes me feel loved. Togetherness makes me feel loved. Tangible expressions of love means the most. When you help me, I feel loved the most. Hug makes me feel loved. Now, with this wording, acknowledgement makes me feel loved is different than togetherness makes me feel loved, because I enjoy working with a team. Now, as much as I would love to be known as the superstar in this industry, I'd rather, as you guys could all tell, I rather much share the platform with people. So I don't know where this one's going to rank, but I'm going to go with tangible expressions of love. I'm going to go with togetherness, makes me feel loved. So I'm pretty sure that one's going to be quality time, but we'll see how this goes. At number 3, I value praise and avoid criticism. I value conversation and closeness. Closeness is this. SMRT. I value little thoughtful gifts. I value help and kind assistance. I value affection and warm embraces. So obviously, everybody loves affection, warm embraces, or something. Then a hug from your grandmother, a kiss from your significant other, so on and so forth, right? I value help and kind assistance. You know, there is something when, imagine, I remember volunteering when I was 11, 12 years old with shout out to Danny Maldonado. We used to volunteer at the senior center and for Columbus Maryville. And there is nothing better than somebody helping you out, somebody going out of their way to show you that you're important to them, that strangers are important to them. So that's help and kindness. The world needs that. I value little thoughtful gifts. Yeah, there's nothing better than somebody getting you a little paperweight of a stormtrooper. Like, there is something that puts a smile on your face for that. I value conversation and closeness. It's kind of what I've been doing for the last 6 years of my life. And I value praise and avoid criticism. I think as much as I want praise, the one thing I live off of is criticism. Yeah. It's the one thing that I use to grow the most. Like, the people I work with are my biggest critics. So,
especially those 2 new people you're working with.
Yeah.
It seems like it's really straightforward, but it gets harder the more questions they ask, because if you feel like
I value help and kind assistance, because there's something about somebody saying thank you, or you just, there's just.
But it gets harder, right? Yeah. Because when it starts getting into more depth of things, you're like, wow, I do start to feel kind of torn as to how they give you like the easy question first.
No, it's true. And this at number 4, I like when you compliment appearance. I like when my feelings are understood. I like receiving gifts on my birthday. I like when you help me around the house. An unexpected kiss makes me feel loved. So in this instance, this one's an interesting one, because at this instance, I think the physical touch is the one I would enjoy the most, because I don't really need help around the house. If anything, like, that's annoying to me. Like, let me clean the way I like to clean. I like receiving gifts on my birthday. My birthday isn't really not about me. It's more about my parents. It's kind of like anything in life. Like, my kids, their accomplishments are more my accomplishments, because screw you, I fed you for 18 years. So, like, that's just it. So I'm going to go with an unexpected kiss makes me feel loved. At number 5, encouraging words, undivided attention, heartfelt gifts, teamwork, holding hands. See, this one's a tough one. So it's going to be between encouraging words and heartfelt gifts. So the encouraging words is something that, again, it all depends on the mood that you're in, on the state of life you're in. And a heartfelt gift is the same thing. If things are going well and somebody gives you a cool gift, it kind of just feels like you're earning these things and life is going a good thing. Or if you're down in your luck and somebody gives you a fucking pocket watch, it's just, it might be the inspiration you need. Like, there's so many things that go into it. So I enjoy giving encouraging words more than I like receiving them.
I agree with that.
So I'm gonna go with heartfelt gifts, which is funny because I enjoy giving gifts just as much as I like receiving them. At number 6, I feel loved when I receive meaningful words on my birthday. I feel unloved when you interrupt me and half listen. A gift lets me know you were thinking of me. I feel loved when you help me with projects around the house. Cuddling closely is the best part of my day. All right, so this one's going to go between I feel loved when I receive meaningful words on my birthday, or I feel unloved when you interrupt me and half listen.
I was going to say unloved.
And it's one of those things where I feel like I'm not the smartest kind of word. I'm not SMRT, but I do feel like I could articulate my thoughts, and I do have opinions. And when I get home from work, like my life is speaking, producing, editing. So I don't necessarily like to just converse all the time. I'm very quiet at home. Like I'm not the biggest speaker when I at private time.
That's home mic.
Yeah, like home mic. Like I hate that, but there is a gimmick, I guess, of like I'm more talkative.
I see it more so than anyone else does. Just
because you live with,
together.
yeah, you
right,
live
that's
together.
what I'm saying. So like, I get the quieter mic because you're off.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to be off. Like you're able to relax and watch TV and have your coffee and, not have to worry about 35 things going on.
So I think I'm going to go with I feel in love when you interrupt me and half listen, just because like there's nothing worse than feeling ignored. Yeah. Okay, where are we at? We're almost done, guys. We're on the home stretch. At number 7, I feel love when you tell me I'm appreciated. Eye contact lets me know someone really cares. Several inexpensive gifts means more to me than one large expensive gift. Your actions speak louder than words to me. I feel closer to you when we hold each other. So one thing you're going to notice is like physical touch isn't that big of a deal for me in the sense of like, the intimacy is great, and all that is awesome. It's part of the little things in life. But, I also understand too, like people work out, people are working all day, people are sore, people, people don't want to be mauled at all the time. Like there's, you're definitely more somebody who enjoys, cuddling and all that. So I understand that, but you also give me the leeway of understanding, like, I don't necessarily want something on top of me when I'm watching something. Like I enjoy to have my space. Like even at the movie theater, like you'll put your hand on my leg, or like you'll start like, you'll show me some attention, and you'll know after like 2 minutes, like, all right, cool, he's concentrating on the movie. Like there is I have this weird focus that I turn on when I'm doing certain things. So I appreciate you for not getting mad, but you're definitely more of a.
I also feel like I'm very aware of how you are.
Yeah, like my tics and my mannerisms of like just my body, the way I squirm and things like that. Yeah. I feel love when you tell me I'm appreciated. Like I definitely think like there's something, especially like you're really awesome about telling me your appreciation for me. Like that's definitely something that I really appreciate of our relationship. Number 8, it makes me upset when people don't keep their word. I look forward to lunch dates with friends. When you surprise me with a gift, I'll never forget it. I'm inspired when people pitch in to help me. If I had a long day, a massage helped me forget it. Shout out to the massage. Like there is nothing better than that, but sometimes the other person needs a massage too. So keep, be considerate about that. I'm inspired when people pitch in to help me. Yes and no. I like to do things on my own in the sense I want to build this empire.
You don't like help with things. I'm the same way though. I don't like help with things either when I'm working on something.
When you surprise me with a gift, I'll never forget it. I mean, I'm very appreciative of all my gifts. Like I don't throw things out, by the way, too.
No.
I look forward to lunch date with friends. I hate all my friends. It makes me upset when people don't keep their word. You know what? That one I think is very misleading too, because life happens. Like if your kid gets sick or you have to stay late at work, like shit happens. Like I'm not worried about it.
I think it's another thing to bail.
Sure, but like I give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but I don't trust any of my friends. I know they're all liars. I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
Yeah, every single one.
JK, keep listening to us.
Yeah. I'll go when you surprise me with a gift. I'll never forget it.
It's true.
It's an easy one.
We still have your Darth Vader waffle maker.
Yeah, this was his first Christmas. Yeah. I cherish letters written to me. I enjoy walks and talks on the beach. I put a lot of time into gifts I give. I feel unloved when I'm working and no one offers to help. I enjoy slow dancing with one I love. It's either slow dancing or I put a lot of time into the gifts I give. I think I'll go. I put a lot of time that I put the gifts in, because I think I've given you some pretty good gifts.
You have.
Yeah, I think
your gifts are always thoughtful, which I appreciate, because I like to know that you put the time and effort into it. He gave me the best gift this past Christmas, which was a photo album of all of our photos since we started dating and vacations and little things. And it took a lot of time and it was extremely thoughtful.
And at number 10, I have daily affirmations that I say when I'm down. Talking things through with others really helps me. I have little gifts with sentimental value at my desk. I appreciate the many things you do for me. I need to be held when I'm sick. I think I appreciate the many things you do for me. Like, I think it's that one, or I have little things, but I'm going to go with the nicer one. Let's go with the get results.
Bum-ba-dum.
Language of loves, which do you speak? What do you think I got?
Appreciation, or the affirmation, words of affirmation.
I got receiving gifts.
Oh, yeah.
Your primary love language is receiving gifts. You are very far from being materialistic. The joy and love that you receive lies in the thoughtfulness and effort that someone invested. The best gifts received are the ones that communicate that you are known, you are cared for, and you are prized above whatever was sacrificed to bring the gift to you. A forgotten birthday, anniversary, a last-minute thoughtless gift would be devastating. Everyday gestures are the most meaningful. What do you think?
I agree with that. I said that in the beginning, though. And then when you started answering, I'm like, oh, maybe it's not going to come up as that. But no, that's what I told you.
What did you test as?
My first one,
Yeah.
my very top one was, I think it was quality time. Which ones are there again?
Quality time,
Yeah.
receiving gifts, words of affirmation, acts of service, devotion, physical touch.
When I first did this quiz, like back when Steve Harvey did it, it's like a 60 question one. I got the physical touch, but it was tied with the acts of service.
Okay, so there it is. Cool. What did you think of today's episode? Really interesting stuff, Nicole.
I like it. And like I said, it's something that I think is cool because you can kind of see where I'm coming from. And like I said, the love language is about the other person. It doesn't matter how you register love. It's how they register love. So if you happen to be a person who's acts of service, but their quality time or physical touch, make sure you're doing those things for them.
Is there like, sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
is there like a horoscope kind of thing in this where it's like some mix well better than
I don't
others?
know.
Like, has that ever been tested?
I haven't seen anything.
Interesting.
Doesn't mean it's not there.
Sure.
I haven't seen it.
I looked it up.
But
Yeah.
no, so it's also understanding what the other person registers love as. So quality time. And like you said, like people have very different ideas. So communicating about that as well. Like, no, quality time is like, this is spending quality time together. It's not watching TV with neither one of us having any sort of physical touch or eye-to-eye contact kind of thing. Like, this is quality time. So knowing that that's your partner's way of doing it will then also, I think, make them do those things for you, whatever your love language is.
Honestly, when I went into this episode, I wasn't too sure where we were going to go down the rabbit hole, which way. Because, this could go any kind of way. It could be like The Secret or anything where it's like, motivational speaking and things like that. But I think there is a way, just like anything, like I'm going to say a taboo word you can't say in today's society, but just like the Bible or any type of literature or advice where you can interpret it. And as long as you're doing it to benefit others and benefit yourself, like something like this, like you may think it's just motivational mumble jumble when it comes to Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages, How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate.
Yeah.
Or you could read it and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I don't believe in, maybe I don't think acts of service is the way to say it, but I believe in commitment.
Yeah.
I believe in that type of stuff,
And I think it's a good way to open lines of communication because there are things
That's what it's about.
Right, because there's things that like you may do, but when someone else does it to you, it's irritating and vice versa. But it opens up these channels to communicate about that and to make your relationship stronger in a way because you're able to talk about things that sometimes make people uncomfortable, like saying, you know what, receiving gifts does make me feel better. Like, it sounds shallow at first, but then when you see it's because, well, you thought of me when you were going out there. I don't care that it was 50 cents, but you saw it and we're like, oh my God, they would love this.
Sure.
So
yeah, right.
I think it's a good way to kind of bring those channels out.
No, it's just really interesting stuff. Like you said, the most important thing is the communication. It's like, man, anything that can help communication that, you don't have to go on somebody's Twitter feed or Facebook, timeline and like, oh, they like these type of stuff. They it's just, it's a more intimate way. Again, the key word on this episode, it's a very intimate way of,
looking at it
and talking to each other and learning about each other. So really good stuff. Thank you, Nicole, for bringing this to the forefront. Another great idea for the episode.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I had nowhere else to go. Here's thank you guys so much for joining us. Why don't we go ahead and close up shop, Nicole? Thank you guys for listening to us. Follow us on Facebook. You can like us there at Mercado Airwaves. Do us a huge favor. Go to iTunes, itunes.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like, rate, review, and share us. It means a lot to us. It helps us get the word out and grow the brand. Go to YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. You can subscribe to us. You'll get updates every single time a new one of our episodes shows up. We have every one of our interviews up there, all our shows, all our podcasts, really good stuff over at youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. All the episodes you hear on Mercado Airwaves are brought to you by our amazing producers at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. If you have a brand that you want to bring out to a huge, diverse group of audience, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have UFC interviews. We have a pop culture show. We have a relationship show. And we have a few things coming down the pipeline. And don't forget, on weekends, we have our very Saturday sports show. It's a fun thing. I get to just talk with you guys about all the things that have happened in the crazy world of sports in the week that was. And we are on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Mercado Airwaves. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Nicole, any last words for our lovely audience?
I hope you guys are able to take the love quiz, the love languages quiz. It's online. You guys can find it anywhere. And this is not like to promote them. It's just something that I think is really good to do with your partner. It helps you kind of understand what they're thinking and how you're thinking. So it opens some doors to talk about things, which is great.
Before we leave, Nicole, you and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just thought of it as, we were signing off, but do you think a lot of couples listen to podcasts together? Do you think they share the podcast? Like, hey, I listened to this cool TED Talk, or I listened to this, like, check it out. Like, how do you think couples listen to podcasts?
I think they share it. Most people have I feel like now especially, people have such busy lives that, like, it's hard to be like, let's listen to this together.
Sure.
Because we're busy doing things. And, like, I don't listen to podcasts really at home. Like, I listen to it when I cook a lot.
Podcasts are my new TV.
Yeah.
Podcast is my TV.
But when I drive to work, because I have the Bluetooth in my car, like, now I just play it because I want to hear people talking, because I guess, I don't know when I turned old, but I did. It's like, I'd rather listen to talk radio, essentially, than listen to music in the morning. But I think that's the one way to do it. Or when we're in the car together, I'll put something on.
Well, let me know how you guys listen to this show. Are you listening, especially like our the episodes that are specific for couples or anybody in a relationship, things like that?
Justina shares it with her husband. They'll listen to it in their car together, but like, she'll share it sometimes.
Yeah, so shout out to you guys for listening to it. But let us know how you guys digest this episode, and thank you guys. Let us know what you guys think on the Facebook page. But Nicole, thank you so much. I am Mike Mercado with the lovely Nicole Mancha. You've been listening to us on Pizza Night with Niki and Mike here on Mercado Airwaves. Have a good night, guys.
Night, guys.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves.
You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com.
Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
Thanks for joining us here on Pizza Night with Niki and Mike here on Mercado Airwaves.